how do you see this coming when it was caused by the, how did I see it coming? When it was caused by the coronavirus? Well, it's kind of like I said, we got loose, we got real loose with money. You know, money is supposed to have some kind of value, right? And if it doesn't, if it can just be created out of thin air, it loses its value. So money used to be, I mean, gosh, just like cows, right? You trade a cow for a cow or cow for 5 sheep or whatever. It was a trade. And then it was gold and silver and money had to be tied to something like that. And then, like I said, in 1971, it just became the US dollar, became the new gold standard. And then you've got people in charge who are like, yay, we can make as much of that as we need, so we can just solve all problems by creating more of it. But anytime you create more of it, it devalues it. But when you devalue the paper asset, it tends to increase the hard asset. So what we've seen is that those who own assets are becoming wealthy, and those who don't are having a very difficult time staying alive. Really, it just comes down to that. If you own assets of any kind, if you own stocks, or if you own housing or gold, you built your wealth. And if you didn't, you're struggling to keep up with rents, you're struggling to keep up with inflation, and it's only going to get worse. That's what to me is very tragic about this. And this is why I'm constantly trying to get people to acquire assets, because I think it's only going to get worse in terms of that income gap, because those who are able to acquire the assets are going to continue to build wealth, while others are going to be stuck in just worthless dollars and getting paid in worthless dollars as more of them are being created. So that's why I saw it already coming. I'd been studying the underlying economics, which is, in my opinion, there's been a lot of credit to different things, but in my opinion, the reason asset values went up, stocks went up, property went up was more money was created. If you create $4 trillion and put it into the economy, 10 trillion globally, you're going to see your values go up, right? You're going to see things recover. That's why they do it. So now they just, I mean, it was 4 trillion. They just did that in a week. And that was just the beginning. So it's like we've never been here. We've never created so much money. The way it's going to play out is inflation, but it isn't going to really look like inflation, because we're trying to fight deflation. So if you're seeing values go down, but you're trying to prop them up, what you're going to see is just stabilization. And that's what they're trying to do. But if you don't own assets, it's going to be really difficult, and it's heartbreaking. So help me get the word out for people to try to buy their first property, buy their own home, really try to understand that it's not business as usual. It's not, the whole economic system has changed, and it's really very much dependent on this money creation, in my opinion. Okay, back to your point about getting people back to normal. What is the likelihood that people will be hugging, kissing, or face-to-face? Yeah, I think it'll come back. I think it'll come back. We have short memories. I mean, I think in the future, we'll be aware that this type of thing can happen, and we'll know what to do. And I think what we'll do is wear masks and wash our hands and test, and just be aware and not be so resistant. Our greatest value in this country is freedom. So the idea of taking that away was unthinkable for most Americans, and there was huge resistance to it. But I think now people kind of understand, oh, it's not really taking away our freedom, it's just something we need to do for a little while to curb this. And so I think we'll handle it different in the future. I think people will be hugging. I don't know about handshaking. I'm going to be more careful when I go to big events, because I would just eat food sitting out in front of thousands of people. I probably won't do that now. Does it make sense to pay off out-of-state properties if you have cash? I don't think so. I mean, unless you really want to be conservative and just not have any debt, not have to deal with that, then sure. But we also have historically low interest rates. So I would personally take advantage of the interest rates and keep the cash on hand. I think the most important thing right now is to have cash on hand for when over the next few months, if you see a great deal, you'll be able to buy it versus having it tied up in property. Or if you just hit really hard times, then you've got the cash on hand rather than tied up in the property. My opinion. Brendan said all of his tenants paid in April. Mine too. Hearing from mortgage lenders in California that some banks are not accepting jumbo loans. What is your feeling nationally? Yeah, jumbo loans, non-QM loans, flip loans, commercial loans. It's tough. Builder loans, it's not there right now. But the Fed is going to back Fannie and Freddie to keep the housing market afloat. So that's unlimited. Okay. Is West Palm Beach area to buy? I think most of Florida except South Florida is great because South Florida is just too expensive. But yeah, I mean, the Tampa area, Jacksonville, Orlando, Palm Coast, Palm Beach, yes, I think. Is there a reason you focus mostly on single family homes? You know, I just like them. I just think I understand it. I know that we can lock in. I can help people lock in 10 Fannie, Freddie government-backed loans at low interest rates, locked in for 30 years. And it's single family, so it kind of stays under the radar, and it's in that asset class that the government protects. So for the average person, I really, really believe in single family. The rents pay down that loan. You own it 100%. You get all the tax deductions. Whereas, there was a big talk about investing in apartments and investing in other people's syndications, but you're only getting a small piece of a big pie, whereas you own your own single family portfolio, and it could be 1 to 4 units. But those are federally backed loans, super low interest rates, fixed for 30 years. Rents are going up over 30 years, but your payment stays the same. You own it by yourself. I don't know. I just like it. Now, that's not to say if I saw an amazing deal on an apartment, I would probably syndicate it, but I couldn't. We had so many come across our desk and it just didn't look that interesting to me. So if we find something, we'll do it. What do you recommend for a beginner? I recommend that you talk to one of our investment counselors, that we really understand your goals, what you have to work with. Really what really comes down to what you're trying to achieve. Talk to one of our investment counselors, it's free, and then listen to all the webinars on our website. We have so many webinars that will teach you the power of leverage. They'll teach you the power of the tax write-offs. I mean, they're incredible. The asset protection, which markets and why, and what asset class and why. Just learn. Read my book, Retire Rich with Rentals. You get a lot from that. There's just so much information. So first step would be really to understand it and never invest until you understand what you're doing. And we are definitely here to help you with that. My tenants are paying me through Zelle. Payments go directly into my account. Awesome. Love that. Aware of issues with home inspectors inspecting SFRs? I'm not sure if that's a question, but always get a home inspection. Always get a third-party home inspection before ever buying a property, and a final walkthrough before you close. Will there be an incentive for Schedule E taxpayers due to Corona? I'm not sure. We'll do a webinar with an accountant to find out really understand the changes. We'll book that for next week. Do you see property taxes dropping? In Texas, it's a concern. Property taxes have been increasing. Just wondering if there's a change. There's been talk in Texas about dropping property taxes. In a lot of areas where property values have gone up, the locals are just not liking that their taxes keep going up. And as people get older and they're on more fixed incomes, they don't want to see those property taxes go up. So there's a good chance also with so many Californians moving to Texas and moving to Florida that we'll bring some of our ideas with us. Sorry, world, but that's probably what's going to happen. And in that case, then there could be some discussion about trying to cap the property taxes, and there already is in Texas, so it's possible. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. We've been doing daily webinars I just really, like I said, I try so hard to not be biased and to give this information um, just to find out what the reality is. And it just seems to keep coming back to what we've been doing, which is keeping it conservative, keeping it conservative. So, and sometimes when I interview people who aren't even into real estate, economists, they come back to the same conclusion that affordable housing will always be needed and the government seems to always back it. So as much as I try to be unbiased, I am a little biased, and the data seems to keep coming back to that bias. But I do try, I approach these looking at all the data and just trying to be open-minded to whatever the conclusion comes to. And so I appreciate you listening. All right. Ah, so appreciate. A lot of people agree with the Federal Reserve issue. We don't know how it's going to play out, but we do know they're just going to keep stimulating the economy. And there's so much concern about there being this massive inflation, but I don't know when that will happen, because when you're fighting deflation, it may not happen. And that's basically what Ben Bernanke was saying, is it's not going to happen. And it didn't happen. All the last 10 years, people were like, and it did in certain areas. And like I said, with assets for sure, which is why you need to have them and get everyone you know to have them. um, you're welcome. Thank you. Do you see us returning to the gold standard? I don't think we can. I don't know if we can, but we're buying gold. I would buy gold, like 10% of your net worth maybe in gold, but just to have that as a savings. If you're going to have a savings, maybe it's in gold. Ah, thank you. So many sweet people. Appreciate it. I felt like I was babbling a little bit, so I really appreciate being here. Finished my rehab on my first flip just when the lockdown started. So I held off on the listing after waiting a month. I listed it today. If I don't get a good offer in the next 3 weeks, I plan to make it a long-term rental. Do you think pivoting it from flip to rental is a good idea? It just depends. I mean, I put a property on the market right when all this happened and we got 30,000 over asking price. So it just depends on where you are and what's on the market, the price point that you're at. I like having backup plans always. So while listing it for sale, you might also list it for rent just to see which comes in faster and better. I don't think there's any reason why you can't do that. Single family homes are such a stable investment. I agree. I like them. And the reason I get nervous about commercial is exactly what's happening is that so many people got these commercial loans on apartments, assuming rents would continue to go up, and that the banks need to make sure there's a certain margin. So when rents go down, the value of the property goes down, and the banks do a margin call. And this is what I was warning people, like, these are not fixed rate mortgages. Some are, but not like 30-year fixed rate mortgages that you get on single family. So there's a lot of apartment owners who are facing margin calls are going to have to come up with a bunch of money, and they may not have it. So that's the kind of thing it made me nervous. But again, if I were able to find an apartment for a really great deal, I would do it, but I would never do it at the kind of price points people were paying and the leverage. I would never personally go over 65% for that reason, for the margin calls. Any ideas where to get more loans right now if we're maxed out on Fannie Freddie? It's really hard. You're going to have to go to friends and family. You're going to have to find out how to raise money. Go to friends and family who have money in an IRA and they don't want to be in the stock market, and just pitch them. I mean, we had someone in our network in a 1031 exchange. This was when there was plenty of financing, but she ended up not qualifying for some reason and was over the 10 loans, but she was in a 1031 exchange and had to get new loans. So she just desperately went to family and said, look, the banks won't do it, but if you'll just, you can lend at 75% LTV or whatever it is, and I'll give you 6% or 5%. I mean, that might be better than people in your family are getting anywhere. So they can use their IRAs, they can self-direct and lend to you secured to your real estate at a low LTV. I mean, you could be really doing them a favor, but you have to present it in a way they understand it. You can send them to our website to learn, or any website, to really learn the security of lending against a property at a low LTV at a decent rate that they might not be getting anywhere else, or in maybe they're getting 2% in something that's not as secure. So friends and family, you have to learn how to raise money from private lenders right now. I mean, the money will come back. It's just not there now for anything outside, anything unusual. Yeah. All tenants paid. We sent, oh, awesome. This person said all their tenants paid. We sent an email letting them know we were 100% committed to keeping everyone in place, asked them to let us know if they were having trouble. We would work it out together. Their responses made me cry. They were so grateful. This is the thing, as landlords, we can be awesome. You know, we can be good people and reach out to the tenants and help them. And that is what our property managers have been doing. They've been finding out who's having distress, showing them where to go to get support they need, whether it's through the CARE Act or through certain charities. Missy in Ohio was showing people where all the job openings were and helping them get jobs. I mean, you can really be a great resource for your tenant and not the bad guy. And it sounds like you did that, Carl. That's awesome. Really just beautiful. Okay, I'm just going to keep going because there's still questions. Just had a tenant move out of my condo in California. I was planning to sell and buy several properties in the Midwest. In the current climate, should I just re-rent the condo? You know, David, it's kind of like I said, try both. You know, put it on the market, both for rent and for sale, if you can do that, and see what happens. Like I said, I put mine on the market and it sold. It just depends on the price point, but there's still financing for homeowners, so you might be able to sell it. What is the status of North Dakota? Oil prices are low. It's tough, but there is some hope. There's a glimmer of hope there with the new OPEC agreement. Owning assets is the key. Do you think there are going to be new programs from Fannie and Freddie that will replace a lot of the secondary market loans? I don't know. The Fed can only do so much. So the secondary market needs to be there. And I think it will come back once things stabilize and we get control of this thing, the secondary market will come back. Because I mean, it's always been that way, that investors know that mortgage-backed securities are considered a safe place to put money at a low LTV. So they'll be back once they see things stabilize. Do you know Dave Ramsey? I love him. He's mentioned what? He mentioned me on his show? I hope it was positive. Your philosophies are on leveraging and debt. Oh, okay. He probably didn't like it. That's so funny. I love Dave. I'm sad he doesn't love me, but no, I disagree, man. I'm all about low leverage, low cost leverage. That's how you build wealth. And we do disagree, but I do disagree on saving, having just cash is, the value of cash is going down the more they print. So tell Dave that, but I want him on my show, if you know. All right. So happy we just sold a high-end condo in Vegas. Me too. Good. Houston affiliate has tax service, which has always reduced our rates year over year. Awesome. For April, I got paid on all 14 units. Love it. Oh my gosh, this is such good news. Thank you. Oh man, so many sweet comments. Someone said they liked the daily webinars. I got to tell you, I'm loving them because we were really, me in particular, very, very freaked out in early March. I just didn't know what was happening. And I just thought there's one way to find out. We're just going to talk to every property manager. And it was really Missy in Ohio started it. And she goes, we got to be proactive here. And she had a meeting with all the property managers that Tim put on, and we just brainstormed ideas like, how are we going to deal with this? This is one of the great things that we have at RealWealth, is all these different companies that we refer people to, but we don't own those companies, but they rely on our referrals, so they want us to be happy, and so they come together as competitors, as different companies, and they learn from each other and share. So right away, Tim set up this mastermind, and all the property managers from around the country that we refer people to came together and brainstormed solutions. And it really looks like they learned from each other and did great things. And hopefully it's the same for May and June. But with the webinars, I wanted to do those to really understand what was happening real time and to help our members understand real time what was happening, because man, this is unprecedented for sure. Let's see. Commercial market will be affected. Yeah, retail. I wouldn't want to be in retail right now. There could be some opportunity in office and retail in the future. I don't know what it is, but hey, Rich always tells me stick with what we know, and that's single family homes and residential. So that's what we'll do. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I was nervous to do this webinar. I was super, super nervous. I had no idea what I was going to say. So if I sounded nervous, I was. So thanks for your sweet comments. How long before blockchain technology will start expanding into more real estate contracts? Since I don't know anything about blockchain. Someone teach me it. I can't understand it. All right, last comment. I think we're done. Wow, I almost went 2 hours. Crazy. Sorry if I took up too much time, but if you're sitting at home doing nothing, I hope I made it more exciting. All right. Well, tomorrow we're going to have a webinar on lending. Wednesday, gosh, I forget this. I'm going to pull up my screen. It might be on there. No, probably not. Anyway, we have webinars all week. It should be maybe it was on our newsletter. Maybe Jill knows. Jill, text me. What are the webinars this week? Anyway, there'll be good ones. You'll get the message. Tomorrow's definitely the lender, and on that you'll get information on the rest of the week. So look forward to seeing you then. No, tomorrow is not. Thursday's the lender. Tomorrow I can't remember, but it'll be good, I promise. All right, take care. Stay safe. Our rule at home is nobody gets to come over unless they have isolated themselves from anyone else for 2 weeks. That's all we're doing right now. And if they come over, they have to wear a mask. I'm being strict. Oh, wait, there's more. All right. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.